Portland Retro Gaming Expo time. 8-bit joystick.
Waiting to get into Portland Retro Gaming Expo.
Atari Age and Atari both had a big booth.
Total Games? I know these people.
I'm on the hunt for Sega Master System.
Appreciate it. I just did a, this is video.
Oh,
I just did
I thought it was a,
well, we could do,
selfie
we
here.
could, well, a video selfie.
Video.
All right, I'm here at Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and
And what? Who am I? I don't know who I am. It's the best intro of all time.
no, so
It is,
now you're putting me on the project.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Happy Console Gamer.
Thank you for having me.
So, have you been to Portland before?
I have actually been 4 times.
4 times.
But I haven't been back in 9 years. So I just drove 6 hours from Vancouver, just arrived here.
So it's changed over the years, you know.
Yeah.
So definitely go to Total Games. That's literally across the street.
I did go there. I went there last night.
And so it's great. We got all the local. And the great thing about editing is I get to cut out myself being stupid.
No, you're not.
But,
He's going to cut himself off to here. That's not happening.
I just want to say this is one of the YouTubers that actually inspired me to actually do YouTube.
I've got to apologize for that again. I'm sorry about this.
I spent thousands of dollars to make hundreds of dollars doing YouTube.
But you know what? It's a passion, right?
It is. It is.
It's a lot of fun, right? Just talking about video games is awesome.
Well, you know, I've seen on like YouTube Reddit threads, people are like, oh, what's a popular thing to do? And I'm like, well, what do you care about?
That's
Because
exactly
if you're
it.
going to spend all this time actually doing it and researching it, you want to actually pick something that you care about. And I got gray hairs. That's real. So
Me too. Me too. Right here.
So that is, you know, retro video games, which were not retro when I was actually into it.
How old are you now?
46.
I'm 50. So I know.
There you go.
I beat you.
So, do you remember the retro video game crash of the video game crash? It wasn't retro. The video game crash of 1983.
Well, the interesting thing, I didn't know about it. I only found out years later when all the ET cartridges were buried and stuff like that. So I didn't know about it. I was a kid. So I was just moving on to the next thing. I was like, cool, it's a Nintendo. Who cares about that Atari?
No, it was a traumatic event for me because I went to the store and he said, all right, kid, buy all the video games because they're all going out of business and you're not going to get any more. And from about 1983 to about 1987, he was right.
Right.
And so we had Chuck E. Cheese and you could do arcades, but there was like 4 years in the mid-'80s that the American game market was dead until this strange company called Nintendo. They had a robot they were trying to put video games on.
I want to say something about this. I remember I went to my friend's place. I was playing hockey with him back in the day. And I went over to his house to have dinner or something like that. And he's like, do you want to play some Nintendo? And I'm like,
What's that?
What is Nintendo? It sounded like some weird word.
It's like a decent
Yeah,
word.
What, who came up with this name?
Okay.
You know? And little did I know at that time it would be history in the making. I didn't know that. And I played Mario, and you could not believe it.
Throw away the box. Just throw
Yeah, you don't need that cartridge. The box.
No. So I actually did a so I live in a condo here in Portland.
Okay.
And so whenever I see these people that have their giant rooms and they're all full of the retro stuff, and I'm like, you live in the burbs because you're in Portland, in the city, facing the premium. So I am the alpha predator that throws away boxes.
Oh.
And so, but the CIB collectors hate me. But if it wasn't for us, their CIB stuff is worth more because we're thinning.
Oh my God! It's a complicated argument.
It is. So
complicated.
I'm sorry, I just met you, and I don't want to. But it is.
Do you know what though? I can also blame myself.
Yeah.
Take blame as well for the rise in video game prices. So it was accidental.
Yeah.
I just got in front of a camera, talked about all the games I loved, and a lot of other YouTubers did. And then prices went up. That was something that we didn't expect, and it's something that I will apologize for. And I would never have wanted that.
No.
I don't want that for anybody.
You took it for granted that they were low prices.
Now,
Here's a great example of Xenosaga 3, a game I loved on the PlayStation 2. That game used to be about $50, $60. Now it's like $350.
So,
depending.
I feel bad because I collect. So I used to have a huge cartridge collection, and then then I sold it when I went back to college and got another degree. I became a nurse in 2009. But I sold it to Pink Gorilla Games because I wanted to make sure that they would be cared for because I cared about these things. And it was like what I call the golden age of collecting, which is back when cartridges were just considered cheap and disposable before they're like now, really gone on price.
Right.
I mostly collect Famicom and Japanese Game Boy, and I speak a good amount of Japanese. And so now they just have these auto translate features on YouTube.
They do,
so
yeah.
I'll watch Japanese gamers complain about us buying all of their retro games because of the dollar is stronger against the yen. And so I'm like, they're like, yeah, 10 and 5 Game Boys. I'm like, yes, because I bought them. But
it's true though, like everybody's importing all these off eBay, and so I'm buying them.
Well, and then oh, you can't get your Metal Storm for NES, but I got it for Famicom, and
yeah, basically Japan over the years has just been bled dry of all of their retro games. There's still a lot there, but boy, oh boy, they are all in the hands of collectors now.
Well, the COVID shutdown, they actually would not let Westerners, so COVID for us had all these people wanting to stay home and spend money and buy retro video games.
Yeah.
And in Japan, it was a huge hit to the tourism trade. So supply went up and demand was down because the foreign tourist wasn't going up.
Right.
So now, and the dollar is right. So now we're going over to Japan and buying games. And so this is what I'm doing here in Portland. Is I'm actually going to buy some. So you have a panel tomorrow.
I do. I got a panel at 11 o'clock. As I said, I haven't been back here in 9 years, so it's really nice to meet people who watch the show like yourself and things like that. And so thank you for saying that you were inspired a little bit. But
absolutely.
That's really that makes me feel amazing.
We also got Retrobird. Met him last year.
Everybody was telling me to meet him,
and he's great. He's one of the tallest. You can see him in the crowd because he's like up there.
He's not a violent man, is he?
No, he's wonderful.
Good.
And talk to him about bananas and bread clips.
I will. I don't know if I should do that. I think I'm confused.
But no, he has. I'd like to make videos that are fun and entertaining. So
that's the exact opposite of what I do. That's being funny.
You want to so he's been fun. So his shtick. So I'm actually trying to be more stupid on camera.
Right.
What I'm trying to do.
It's very easy. Just keep watching my show. You'll learn from the best. Masterclass and stupidity, right?
Yeah, and we got John Riggs who's going to be here.
Yeah.
And Metal Jesus.
John Hancock.
Yeah. So again, it's always great to see other YouTubers.
Yeah, I will subscribe right after this.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Have a good one. Import anime on Laserdisc. Why do you have to tempt me so?
They actually had much of the convention hall open on Friday. Usually this doesn't open up until Saturday.
I have that one. It's great.
Sumo games.
I went down a sumo wrestling rabbit hole on YouTube, and now they're all like, "You want to watch sumo wrestling?" I'm like, "Yeah."
All of the arcade games and pinball games were set up for free play mode. They had some great ones from the early 80s. Just because it was free doesn't mean I'm any better at pinball. I am quite bad at pinball.
Now, I don't know why, but I actually find the Retro Lounge, this is like my favorite part. Just takes me back. People playing Duck Hunt for the first time. CRT TVs and big grandma couches.
I was very tempted to get this unpriced bootleg Felix the Cat. The Atari 2600 Plus, I presume. The Atari 7800 Plus, I presume. Like a moth to the open flame, I am drawn to the Famicom. I think this was a Square promotional video? I don't know. Had Master Chu and the Drunkard Hugh. But I went with Schoolhouse Rocks.
Kids' toys. So I got one, my cat, I got one of these and gave it to my cat, and he was like, "Hey, do you want it?" He's like, "Yes."
I presented him with a Game Boy treat full of catnip, and he was interested in it and seemed happy. I just got back from the first day of Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2024. Wanted to show you what I got. So, I got Kid Icarus. I previously did not have a copy of this on cartridge. I know I wanted to mainly collect Famicom games, but this did not come out on cartridge in Japan. It only came out on the Famicom disk system. I have a friend in Japan named Dave who actually started collecting NES cartridges, which is strange considering he lives in Japan. But he wanted a copy of Contra, and so I found him a copy of Contra. So the Japanese copy of Contra has cutscenes, but it doesn't have the Konami code. So it's a heck of a lot different, a heck of a lot harder, has slightly different like animations, but the up up down down left right BA, not in the Japanese one. But that's why you got to get yourself an American copy of Contra. So I was on the lookout for Sega Master System, and I have been looking for Kenseiden for a while. This is sort of Sega's attempt at a Castlevania type game, but it's about a samurai fighting Japanese yokai. And this is a really, really decent looking copy of it. And so I was looking forward to getting Kenseiden. That was one on my list. I also was looking for Phantasy Star 4, so I found a really, really nice looking copy. I want to get it loose. Normally I don't buy box games unless, this is all I can find. But I had Phantasy Star 1 through 3 loose, and so now I'm glad to get Phantasy Star 4. Also on Sega, I'm mostly looking for Sega Master System, Time Soldiers. Haven't actually played, I played this game a little bit, but I was always looking for good Sega action games. Speaking of good Sega action games, I got Wonder Boy. This is Sega's, well, it's not, it's Wellstone's port of their arcade games to Sega Master System. So this isn't, so Hudson's Adventure Island is based on Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy is not based on Adventure Island. So what else did I get? I got Trip World DX. Limited Run Games was there, and I got the Limited Run Games version of Trip World DX complete in the box sealed. I don't collect complete in the box sealed, so you know what? Should I do this? Yes, I will actually. It's no longer in the shrink wrap. Listen to that. Shrink wrap removal sounds. I also got Shantae. Shantae for Game Boy Color. Again, in the box. No longer in the shrink wrap. And I was looking for I'm glad that Limited Run Games were there, but I got Shantae for Game Boy Color. And I actually saw a music album there that I had to get. This is Schoolhouse Rocks Rock. Is a grunge act and alternative bands covering Schoolhouse Rocks. And it's actually a really good album, and they were selling it there for $5, and I got it. I also met the Autograph King. This is Mr. Shamim Dana. He goes around and collects autographs. I got to know him in a Portland Retro Gaming Facebook group, and I actually did a little interview with him. He wanted to be on he asked to be on my YouTube channel, and said, by God, I'll see you at Portland Retro Gaming Expo. And he goes around and collects autographs. There's a documentary in the works about him, and hopefully it'll be out next year. So he signed, I have one of the first persons in the entire world to have autographs from the Autograph King. So he's a subscriber, and now here's my interview with him.
All right, my name is Jacob. This is 8-Bit Joystick. We're here at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and I'm with...
The Autograph King is here at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo.
So, autographs. How long have you been collecting autographs for?
Well, I've been collecting autographs for since 2002.
But what do you like about it?
I like the story behind each of the autographs. Each autograph has a different story, and in that story there is a lot of fun memories. Like, for example, the time I met Stan Lee.
Oh yeah.
I met him twice.
So I love Stan Lee and I love Marvel movies, and I'm sort of glad that he would do all the cameos, and he passed away, and I'm glad that they didn't try to use computers to try and put him in or something.
And the earliest celebrity I met was Allison Court when she was Lunette from Big Comfy Couch. Mickey Carroll, one of the original Munchkins from Wizard of Oz.
In the past, this has sort of been like a small Portland thing, and so it's interesting as Portland Retro Gaming Expo gets bigger, they have more Hollywood people here. So who are some of the Hollywood people here that you look forward to getting their autographs from?
The legend Nolan Bushnell.
Oh yeah.
He's the founder of the Chuck E. Cheese, and he created Chuck E. Cheese, and that's a pretty big.
And Atari.
And Atari.
So do you know the secret of Chuck E. Cheese? Like, the reason why they made Chuck E. Cheese?
Yes. So after reading Nolan Bushnell's book, The Next Steve Jobs, he mentioned in the book that he wanted to do the arcade so the kids can wait for their pizza.
Well, it's sort of like, I remember the 1980s, and Atari is they were worried that arcades, the parents were thinking that video games weren't good for kids, and they thought. And so what they did is they wanted to show that a family-friendly place to go, and there really wasn't a lot of like family friends. I did not know that Chuck E. Cheese was run by some of the same people as Atari. I just went to Chuck E. Cheese as a kid because I liked pizza and I liked video games and I liked playing in the balls.
And that's where the video game and the original animatronics for Chuck E. Cheese that came from the Country Bear Jamboree from Disneyland.
Well, those I knew it was a robot, but also it was like really cool as a kid. I greatly enjoyed the original Chuck E. Cheese.
And the rat himself was inspired by Mickey Mouse from Disneyland.
And you have a movie coming out.
2025.
That'll be here soon. So I got 2 more days. Portland Retro Gaming Expo.